So now, in our last interview, well, actually after our last interview, we had talked a little bit about Joe with the cameras and things like that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I think I ended up with his discarded processing equipment, okay? Because I remember playing with it in my father's garage. He gave me a corner to play with all of this.
So, I mean, like when you say probably like darkroom stuff?
Darkroom stuff,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, and I remember this one plastic cylinder, and you'd unwind the film in it, okay, and put it into the liquid and, you know, play with it. And he gave me all the chemicals and everything.
Cool.
Wow.
Wow.
Play with it. And it was a really funky homemade enlarger.
Wow.
Wow.
And I wish I had kept it, okay? Because it had a big light bulb in the top of it, and you'd slide the negative in, and then the negative, of course, would be transmitted down onto the platen on the bottom. And you adjusted on a metal pole, very similar to that piece of iron right there. You'd slide it up, and then there would be a thumb screw to lock it in place so that you could get the enlargement size that you wanted. None of this fancy, you know, like these nice little spinners. And
All the new stuff.
rack and pinions and stuff like that. No, it was all done
Simple,
manually.
very simple.
Very simple
But it still
stuff.
did the job.
But it did the job, yeah. And I don't know where that ended up. I really don't.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
And there was I remember there was a little black box for exposing photo paper, at small size, kind of like the ones that are. Where are they?
Like small pictures?
Over there.
Yep.
The small
Oh,
pictures.
yes.
I like these over here.
Yep.
Okay, where you put the negative. And the camera that he used, I'm trying to remember, but he had a couple of cameras, and names on them I don't remember. It could have been Rolleiflex or something like that, because I have some old Rolleiflex cameras, and they look very similar to that. Okay, but I remember it was a good size film, so it was like a 2.5 by 4 inch or negative size. So
I still have those.
yeah, and in fact I have a picture of one of my MGs done by a professional photographer on that type of a film. And boy, I'll tell you can't beat the resolution. You can blow that thing up as big as that wall, and it's still perfect, because pixels are one thing, microscopic pieces of silver are something else.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, you
Well,
get
and
billions
it's like
of
you see all
pixels.
these. I still have the negatives for all these, and so many other things that he
Cool.
did. You know, so I mean, it's really interesting. It's too bad, because it would really be cool to be able to like take that negative and then make those again with his original apparatus.
gosh.
Oh,
Yeah,
that would have been
That would have been cool.
a little slice of Pilates nerd heaven.
But you know, he was, I don't know if it was he or if it was Clara that was cleaning things out.
Yeah.
And said, it's like, gotta go. Okay.
And now, was that, do you know, so he had like maybe a dark room like in his house?
There might have been something down in the cottage.
Because it wasn't up here.
No, it wasn't up here.
Yeah.
Okay, but there might have been something down. And you know, knowing how Joe operated, Joe would make do with what he had available to him. So there was a little room that was off from the cottage, and it was kind of like an entryway.
Okay.
Okay, and that's where I think I told you he had that fiberglass steam bath. Okay, that I asked him if I could borrow it when I was in gymnastics, and he said, yeah, go for it. So we brought it home, and I was using it when I was in gymnastics in high school. I'd come home from a workout and get into this thing and sweat like a It had a fry pan in the bottom.
Oh my god.
It was full water. Okay, you put a towel around your neck, close the door,
That's
Sweat away.
and then go take a bath.
I think I remember seeing ads for things like that.
Yeah.
That is really
Yeah,
great.
cool.
They were kind of cool.
Well, were you going to say something about you were talking about the size of the negatives,
But you know, the size of the negative was 2.5 by 4. I think they were that size right there.
Okay.
What was that?
That's
Just
like
about
2.5
2.5
by 2.5 or 2.5 by 3, something like that.
Yeah, there's a little bit oblong, but it was set up so that the box that he had for exposing it onto the photographic film was you drop the negative down, and then you put the photographic film on it. You'd slide this cover over, which was kind of spring-loaded, lock it in place, and turn a little light on.
Wow.
And that would expose it.
Wow.
That's it.
And it would just print
And
on
then,
the paper.
and then you'd take that and dip it into the liquids.
wow,
to
that's
process
so
it.
amazing.
Yeah. So you had little trays that you'd slip them in and then hang them up to dry.
Cool.
Cool.
But it was cool, so,
Yeah.
and I looking back, it's like, why did I throw this stuff away? Why did I let my mom throw it away? They weren't using it, so get rid of it.
Hey, I don't know how many times I've like thrown something away, and then 3 years later, it's like, I need that.
Or how about when you thought you threw something away,
Right.
and then you found out that you didn't?
Well, that's true. That's
even
true
better.
too.
Maybe that'll happen.
Well, you know that happened when when I bought the business. I bought the trademark, and I bought it for the trademark, but I got the archives and all the business records and all that stuff. And a lot of the things that I got, I kicked myself in the butt for that I threw this out, which was all the client cards. But at the time, it was like, these are just old business records. They're 40 years old. I
Don't need them.
I don't need these. What do I
They're
need?
taking
this?
up space.
Right. So I threw them out, and there was also books. And I thought, the sign-in books, and I guess there was ledger, because I still have one ledger book. And it was very meticulous, and it doesn't make sense that he would have for 5 years have a meticulous ledger book and then nothing before, nothing after.
Wow.
But so I threw a bunch of stuff out. But when and then a couple of years later, I was looking for something, and I had boxes of pictures. And guess what? In the bottom of one of those boxes of pictures
Ledger book?
was the ledger book and the sign-in books. And I assumed that when I looked, you go to look for stuff, it's like, oh, that's book pictures. Put that away. But so you never know.
Any
So-
famous signatures?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Lots of good, and signatures by people who said they were there at certain times, and that's not when they were there. What do you know? Things like that. I mean,
Things like that.
the documents. That's why when you go to court, it's like you can say whatever you want and think whatever you want, but if you ain't got the document, what's Judge Judy say?
It's worthless.
That's right. Judge Judy's like, nope, doesn't matter.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Got to have the paperwork.
Yeah.
Right, so that's what having the document. So I'm happy for that, but there's lots of things that way. When you throw stuff out and then you come back and you're like, ugh,
Shouldn't have done that.
that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I kicked myself in the butt because to have all those client records of what their exercise, routines were and all. I mean, I saved a couple of the cards, so I'd have a record, but yes.
Yeah.
And I did throw away when I gutted this place. I did throw away the porta potty, and I bet you I could have put that on eBay today and probably made some money. Joe's original porta potty. What do you think? Put it out internationally.
Somebody would have bought it.
Shipping it,
sure.
Oh my
I'm
God.
shipping Joe's, old patina porta potty to Germany or wherever,
That's
Made
right.
out of wood.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I mean, it's really interesting about the darkroom stuff, and I guess but you said you didn't remember the name of the camera.
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
I do remember though it was a roll film camera, and so you had to
Roll it up.
roll the film in it. He might have had other cameras.
Yeah.
He might have had plate cameras and stuff like that, but I think the one that he used to use mostly was a roll film camera. It took, I don't know, 620 or 120 or whatever. the
Right.
film number
I still
was.
have a box of roll film, from him, so, negatives and stuff from at different periods of time and things.
Wow,
So.
beautiful.
Yeah.
All done in black and white.
Most of it's black and white. I have some color. There's a few, I have, this size, so I'm pretty sure he had the camera that did it, and then he got color for it as well. So different times. So he got, and we know that in Kathy's book you'll read, I think it was either 63 or 64, he also went out and bought top of the line filming, a film camera to do film. I think 8mm was in 63 or 64. So he was. I always say I thought he was an expert. And people give me a hard time like, how do you know he's an expert? Well, I mean, dark room.
He bought the right stuff.
He bought all the right stuff,
And he
had equipment.
understood the stuff. And that was the best part. He understood what he was doing with all of this stuff. He didn't rely on somebody else's expertise. He developed the expertise to do the stuff.
Right.
Because he knew what he wanted.
Right.
Totally.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what he wanted.
Yeah.
And even around here, he knew. And if he didn't know what he wanted, Clara did.
Well, it usually works that way, right?
I like that.
That's very good.
Yeah.